the best quality someone can have is to adapt and keep learning.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another episode of the Meta Podcast. We have another very special guest on here. What's your name, sir?
My name is Josh, better known as Cousin Josh on Andrew Brown Vlogs.
Andrew Brown Vlogs.
I do the video and the editing. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far.
So I'm going to just speak about how I know you,
Yeah.
just so people know. So I've known you for maybe like a month now, maybe. So when I reached out to Andrew and he said that he will film my intro video for the podcast, and then he told me that you work with him in the videography, and that's how we kind of met. And we met for coffee last week sometime, and I got to sit down and actually chat to you and find out a lot about you. And I found out something quite interesting. You were actually into sound engineering before videography. Do you want to just chat a bit more about that?
Sure. So I matriculated in 2014 and started a 3-year degree in sound engineering. So I studied the Academy of Sound Engineering in the SABC building, and I studied that for 3 years. And then I was lucky enough to meet a whole lot of South African top artists through that studying. And then straight out of varsity, I started working for the Barnyard theatres.
Oh, nice.
And that was actually not even sound engineering. They didn't have a position open for me at the moment, so they said, "Listen, we've got this production manager position open. Would you be interested?" And I didn't know anything about management. I didn't really study management, but I was like, you know what, this is an opportunity to get my foot in the door. So yeah, that's what I did, and I was the production manager for, I'd say, about 2.5 years. And from there, I got to do sound engineering, lighting for all the shows, which was an amazing experience. Got to meet more of South Africa's top artists, which was great. And yeah,
So who did you get to meet?
I've met Polytones, all of them, Prime Circle, Lady Zamar, Nasty C, Questa. The list just goes on and on.
Did you get to work with?
I got to work with them. I got to meet
Awesome.
them. Got to have some interesting conversations
It's amazing.
of where they are and like sort of their mindset. And yeah, that just drove me to even work harder and pursue this even
Awesome.
more.
And in terms of the Barnyard, is that, it's kind of like what exactly is the Barnyard for people that aren't sure about
sure.
it?
So the Barnyard Theatres put on shows weekly, Tuesdays to Sundays. I'm talking pre-COVID now. There's 7 theatres nationwide, one in Durban, Cape Town, and then in Joburg. And they do tribute shows, and it's great for the family. Awesome entertainment.
Yeah.
And so I worked in the production side, also doing sound engineering and lighting for them. So it was really a great opportunity that I got given, and
And then, so this all happened pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So then when COVID got ramped up, and when it got a bit more serious, obviously lockdown created some effects. So what happened to you specifically?
Sure. So I was actually in Durban when COVID happened. I've been working there. We opened a theatre, so I was working there from, I think it was October 2019 till March when COVID got announced. And it literally, we had a show on Sunday, and the president spoke and said, "Listen, we're going into lockdown." And got a message the next day saying, "Guys, we can't open." So it was a big shock to the system, because that was my life, and I was in Durban working. So I had to move back to Joburg because we didn't know how long the lockdown was going to be, and when, we'd be able to open again. And unfortunately, the music industry, the entertainment industry, and, that sort of industry got hit the most for COVID because, it was the first to close and, obviously it's now the last to open. Sort of kind of starting to open now in level 1, but it was hit hard, and obviously I was left sort of unemployed since March. So it hit me quite hard. Yeah, since March.
I think that's rough. I mean, we speak a lot about the effects of COVID, but it's hardly ever we get to specifically, like, I know everyone has their family members that have been affected and stuff, but to see firsthand kind of and to hear from you how that kind of affected you, and the fact that you had no control over that.
Exactly.
How did that feel? And initially, how did you have like feelings of anger and resentment and just walk us through your...
Yeah, sure. So it was more of a confusion because you wouldn't know what was going to happen. I was actually sitting with a few of the artists. I was lucky enough to be quite good friends with them, and we just sat there on the Monday morning saying like, okay, well, what now? What do we do? We kind of stranded in Durban, and you kind of don't have a clear view of what's going to happen because, government can't say what's going to happen. We don't know how long COVID's going to last, like I said. And it was quite scary because you kind of just have to pack up your things. I was lucky enough to move back in with my parents, while COVID was happening. But I know a lot of the guys that I worked with, were just stranded. They didn't have families to go back to. They didn't have salaries now. And they were literally stranded. They there was plenty of cries for help. And, you can't do anything. Luckily, the government's set up aside some funds for some of the artists and the entertainment industries. But, I mean, it was...
minimal, yeah.
Yeah, very, very minimal.
That's tough, man. So there wasn't much hope for March. So now you made a transition during this time from obviously sound engineering, and now let's speak about a bit about what you do now.
Sure.
And do you want to walk us through kind of that journey from going from sound engineering from a position of you've just lost your job, you've had to move back to Joburg, you maybe were feeling a bit bleak, a bit like you didn't have direction, whatever. Walk us through how you got to this point.
Yeah, sure.
Right now.
So, moving back, obviously didn't have any family in Durban, so it was great to be back in a way, but obviously losing your job is never great. And I always used to kind of film with Andrew, but it was more of like a fun thing, like, hey, we're gonna do this, can you film? And so I never really thought, much of it. And then we actually sat down the one weekend and be like, listen, let's take this further, because Andrew always had that vision, and I was obviously doing other things, and it was great to film and learn from that. But then he sat down and said, listen, let's take this further. And honestly, it was so exciting for me because obviously the creative side of me being a musician and all that, it was great, and I got to kind of step into this field with Andrew and learn about videography. We did an online course, which was great, which taught me so much about the videography, cinematics. Andrew kind of worked me through the editing, and then obviously from practice, you just get better from that. And so COVID kind of was a blessing in disguise, even though it brought a lot of trouble and difficult times. But it's looking back at it, it definitely was a kind of a blessing in disguise. And it's great to be on board with Andrew. We kind of work so well together. We always have, as kids, we've always gotten along. And so this journey, I think, it's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
So I just want to put in perspective. I want to just research how much money the entertainment industry has lost.
Yes.
During COVID. What do I search? Do I just COVID effect on entertainment?
On the entertainment industry. And I mean, it's not even just the theatres. You think of movie theatres that employ so many people, hotels that had to close down and they employ so many people. So yeah, it definitely had such a strong effect on the entertainment and that sort of industry.
I can imagine, dude. Like
Because sorry, to cut
even
you-
like even like restaurants and
Exactly.
which I
'Cause-
guess isn't like entertainment, but it's
still in
still
that sort of group, and it's not like you could work from home. Because I mean, what are artists and performers going to do at home?
yeah. I mean, you can. I guess there's YouTube and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's not the same when you're in like a full blown production like
Exactly.
Barnyard, and that's your life, dude. That's kind of
Definitely.
like taking. I don't know. I guess I want to say a step back, but it's not what they've been in,
Definitely.
and it's kind of that thing that they couldn't control, and
Mm.
it's just been like pushed upon them.
Yeah.
So now I'm struggling to find actual like numbers.
No, I think
It's more
not-
just like
yeah.
a lasting, because you can't really quantify the lost salary and the lost
Definitely.
money and stuff.
Because I mean, if you think about how many actual shows and like, if you just go to a farmer's market and there's a oak, just singing with his guitar,
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
that's that oak's livelihood, and that was stripped away. And you think of the performers. I mean, even some of the South Africa's biggest performers, they have gigs that were cancelled on them, and then what are you gonna do? So
Yeah, I can
it's-
speak personally. So I know the drummer of Prime Circle.
Mm.
He's family friends,
Okay.
and what they had to try do basically to save their band, their band, and to keep generating income, because they were kind of they could only get money from performing.
Exactly.
And what they had to do was streaming, like live streams
Mm.
of a performance, and you would buy a ticket on Quicket or whatever, and then but obviously not every artist is able to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But let's speak a bit more about you personally and about your development through COVID. I want to get a glimpse into the type of mindset you had, and when you were faced with kind of a new challenge, which is, I guess it's similar to sound, but it's completely different at the same time. What was your mentality to basically just now go all into videography and into like cinematography and stuff like? Because yeah, obviously you work with Andrew, and you're going to be filming at my wedding,
Yeah.
and you filmed the starting video for this channel as well. So
Yeah, so I mean, if you asked me in January 2020 what I'd be doing at this time, I wouldn't have guessed videography and cinematography and editing and all that. But I think the best quality someone can have is to adapt and keep learning. So that's what I did when Andrew approached me with this idea. I was all in. I was like, let's do it, and it was excitement for me. So yeah, and I literally see myself doing this for a very long time, even though it's not exactly what I studied, but I do incorporate a lot what I studied into my editing and just my thought pattern, and just the creative side of filming, even though it's a kind of like a different field. But I think if you have that creative mindset, it goes a long way. And just the future with Andrew and the filming of that, obviously we're filming a wedding, and we've got other things lined up, which is also very exciting. I think it's just keeping a positive attitude and a positive mindset, no matter what you get dealt in life. And it's easier said than done, but I think once you've gone through it, it definitely helps.
yeah, I guess it's about not having that like victim mentality, because you could have easily literally been like, nah, the world hates me,
Exactly.
the government did this, COVID this or whatever, and then you could have just sat at home and
Exactly.
left it, but
Yeah.
but you didn't. You pushed through, which
I
is
think
amazing.
That hunger to succeed and that fear of failure didn't stop me. Because I mean, this could have just been a huge failure, but I think taking that first initial step, just giving it a try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, at least you can say, okay, I've tried this. It doesn't work. Let's go into something else. I think a lot of people don't incorporate that first step, and then they're either too scared, or they're just they're just
Limited
scared.
mindset,
Exactly. And I think just that first step is the scariest, but definitely pays off.
It's like in my first voice podcast where I said the guy that I watch is on the Empire podcast, which you should definitely check out. Bedros Koulian, and he says, if you take the easy route now, you're going to live a hard life down the line. But if you take the hard route now, you'll live an easier life down the line. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there with that. So now speaking about the videography side and more towards the professional side. So with Andrew's podcast, we obviously spoke a lot about YouTube, and he touched on the professional side and that. But let's get a look into more of what you guys wanting to branch into. Basically, what's the future of the videography side of things?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, Andrew and I, we've got a very similar mindset, and our goals are pretty much lined up, which is great for this future. So the vlogs is obviously like really important to us, because it's like Andrew's baby, and we've put in so much time and effort into the vlogs and building the vlog channel and building the Andrew Brown Vlogs name.
Yeah, you've literally taken bullets. Watch the vlog.
Watch the vlog. Watch the vlog. Yeah, so that's one side of it, like he mentioned as well. And then we've got the whole separate branded work. The filming for private companies, for real estate agencies. That's something we want to get into, and just kind of build that portfolio, and kind of just tap into that. But I think the main focus for now is the vlogs and building the channel, and working towards that.
So getting your name out there.
Exactly.
And obviously going from sound to videography, did you have to do some sort of like a training, or did Andrew help you out? How did you go about doing that?
Yeah, so I mean, we sat late nights on editing, software editing, and that's kind of how I learned. And then also that online course that we've done, that also taught me so much. And then just practice. I mean, we've done.
So just touching on that quickly, sorry to interrupt you, but the fact that if you want to go into any industry, it's available online.
Exactly.
At your disposal. If you want to branch into your passion and you're not sure how to do that, guys, literally you can jump on YouTube onto an online course, and you can start pushing to get your goals done. But anyway,
100%, yeah. So I mean, YouTube is the biggest teacher. I mean, you can literally search anything on YouTube and you'll get something. So yeah, late nights with Andrew, on the editing software, and then obviously editing the vlogs for him and the other videos, that has taught me a lot. And trial and error is also definitely a great teacher. So yeah, that's kind of how I've stepped into this new kind of journey. I do incorporate a lot of what I've studied, like I said, with the sound design, that kind of has definitely helped. And I think I've actually taught Andrew a few things with the sound design, which is great, because it's kind of like...
And you've taught me.
Exactly. Yeah, we kind of just learn from each other, and I think the biggest advice is just never stop learning. There's always something you can learn, or like be teachable. That's a great quality that I've had to learn
that
as
is
well.
Very well said. Very powerful topic, or very powerful point that you just mentioned there. Anyway, in closing, is there, in that time of struggle that you had, if you could give someone that's going through something similar, whether it's because of COVID or whether it's because they are feeling negative about a venture that they failed on, or any kind of adversity in their life, if you could just give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Is to never give up. There's always something that will be holding you back, but I think that, like I said, that initial first step, that stepping into the unknown, it is very scary, but it's going to pay off in the long run. And taking that first step, learning, even if it's something new, brand new, you've never done, just learn about it. Take that first step. Get up in the morning.
Afrikaans here, stop.
Yes, the Afrikaans is coming out. Take that first step. Have that hunger in you, no matter how hard things get. So yeah,
I think that's very well said. Anyway, guys, well, firstly, where can people connect with you? Obviously through Andrew's
Yeah.
channel and obviously your up and coming videography ventures. But where can they connect with you personally if they're struggling and they want to just chat to you about how you overcame things?
Sure. So you can get hold of me on Instagram, Facebook, Joshua Hughes. And yeah, I'm welcome to take any questions. I love talking to people, also learning from them. And if I could, give people my 2 cents,
Yeah,
I'll
and I think
definitely
you can
do that.
add a lot of value as well because you've chatted to a lot of these artists,
Exactly.
very influential people within South Africa,
Definitely.
and someone that's up and coming can kind of ask you a bit about how those artists are, like what their thought process is, what the
Exactly.
industry is like, and
Definitely.
so definitely connect with Josh. Thanks so much for being on
Thank
here,
you
man.
so much for having me.
Guys, please, if you enjoyed this episode, which I'm sure you did because Josh provided us with very good insight into overcoming adversity and branching into new areas, please drop a like, share this with as many people as possible, and let's continue to build this community and start tackling our goals together.
Definitely.
And let's get it.
Get it.
Nice.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.